Hi there, I'm Josh, and today we are talking about the Kindle Paperwhite in 2023. So I review a lot of technology. That is what I do here, and if you're interested in that, like graphics cards, CPUs, and stuff, consider subscribing. But today we're talking about one of the least technological pieces of technology I own, and one of them that I use the most. We're talking about this in sort of a hyper-tech world that we live in, where we talk about phones not having 120 hertz as being a downside, whereas this thing is slower than me trying to win a drag race in my 2017 Kia Forte. Yet everything it does is almost perfect for what it needs to be. I have an iPad. Why would I need a Kindle Paperwhite as opposed to an iPad? Well, readability on a Kindle is so much better than readability on an iPad. Reading digitally can fatigue the eyes very fast, and I find this to be a much more book-like experience than a tablet could provide. Now, why don't I read physical books? Well, because I am a tech nerd, and I like to be able to have thousands of books at the palm of my hands in this super thin form factor. And in this super thin form factor is a battery that lasts weeks. I haven't charged this thing in so long, and it is at 52%. And I have to read like nobody's business, because on top of being a tech YouTuber, I am also an English major, which means I have to read a lot. And people on the subreddit talk about this all the time, but buying a Kindle, for some reason, I guess maybe it's incentive because you bought it, placebo effect or whatever, find that they read more on their Kindle than they did physical books. And I think also part of it is because the Kindle Paperwhite here comes with a backlit display, which means you can read at night with no issues. And the backlit display has varying brightness levels as well as various warmth levels, which means that you can read this at night without straining your eyes too much. Now, I can't talk about the pros without mentioning the cons. So we talked about battery life being exquisite. The e-ink display is honestly amazing. I would not trade it for the world when it comes to reading text. However, and this is a tech YouTuber's perspective on the Kindle Paperwhite, this bezel is gigantic. This thing is absolutely massive compared to the rest of the display. Now, I don't expect ultra-thin bezels on a mid-range Kindle like this, but I expect it to look somewhat like this all the way around, but instead we get this huge notch that just says Kindle. Now, I assume that that's where the battery is, so if you're talking about wanting to keep battery life high, then maybe it's worth it, but I think that this just looks like an outdated piece of technology in a day where bezels are ultra thin and notches are a thing. It just seems like the Kindle hasn't evolved too much. And there's another complaint that I have that you can technically get rid of, but I bought the base Kindle Paperwhite, which is 8 gigs. 8 gigs is a lot of books. I completely understand and respect that, but with audiobooks on the rise, I don't think there should be an 8 gig option of the Kindle. With storage as cheap as it is these days, I am sure that you can probably fit a 16 gig card in here for not much more money and still sell it for the same price. But instead we're stuck at 8 gigabytes. And Amazon is Amazon, which means you have lovely front screen ads. Right now I'm getting the Odyssey of Homer recommended for me. And this in and of itself wouldn't be incredibly egregious if when you turned it on, it just turned on to the home screen, but instead it turns on to a different ad that you then have to swipe to unlock, which, by the way, swiping is not something that you should have to do on a Kindle because of the refresh rate of the screen. It just feels slow and sluggish. On top of this, you can pay $20 to get rid of this. $20 to get rid of ads is absolutely insane to me, considering ads will pay you pennies, considering how often I open this and close it every now and again. Very rarely do I ever read the ad. Now, you can go through Amazon support to get rid of the ads, but that's a very, very interesting way of going about things, and I think that these should just be ad-free from the get-go. At least the higher-end Paperwhite, definitely the Oasis, should not have an option for an ad-supported version. They should just be non-ad supported right out of the box. I understand the base Kindle, if you want to really split hairs here and there and get it as cheap as possible, sure. But subsidizing these when they are still the same technology is just insane to me. And yet, I would not trade this for the world. Considering you can read PDF files off of this thing, that opens up an entirely new world of possibilities as well. Even with all of the minor flaws that I talked about, you can download PDFs on this thing and read them, so I use it for academic reading as well as leisure reading. You can download audiobooks onto them and use Bluetooth headphones. There is no headphone jack. It charges via USB-C, which is amazing. The e-ink display is incredibly crisp and readable, and it does everything a book can do, but in some cases better. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, like, subscribe, do what you usually do, and as always, buy yourself something nice. Post Editing Fox here. Just want to let you know I have an eBay account. The account name is PCNerd02, PCNERD02, where you can buy graphics cards that I've tested. I also have a Discord in the description down below, as well as a Patreon. Thank you so much.